So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is our starting out the new year with a bang. So we've been busy and trying to keep up with our businesses as well as helping find time to show people what Keller Williams is all about and what we do to support you building your business. And just getting a quick, you guys can say it in the chat or you can unmute yourselves, whatever, but who here is licensed? Who here has the real estate license all ready to go, and who's just kind of shopping brokerages or just getting a feel for what the industry looks like? Lynn, I know you're licensed. Shopping brokerages, Charles. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Good work. Something I didn't do a lot of. I came into Keller and got a hug and felt like I was at home. Even though I was at another brokerage, I decided Keller was a better fit for what it kind of lined up with. But I probably could have done a little bit more of it. Crystal, license haven't been active. I've been licensed for a while, or I know you know how to unmute yourself. Feel free to chime in. It's okay. It's open forum. It's kind of informal. So typically we'd be doing this in a classroom. We'd all be sitting there kind of introducing ourselves, a little bit about what we do.
I have kids in the room. That's why I've got it muted. But I've had my license for 2 years. I never really pursued real estate just because I have another full-time job. And so I'm just starting to get back into it again.
Cool. What do you do for your full-time job?
I work for developers. So
okay. Yeah. So you know the business, you're just now looking to have your own sort of
starting over again and getting like a routine.
Mm-hmm.
Actually pursuing clients. That's what I'm interested in doing now. So I just need a refresher.
Cool. Yeah. Well, is your license up soon? Are you?
No, I just renewed it. It expired in November. So I just renewed it and then I switched brokerages. I was with Remax and then I ended up switching. And so now that I'm starting a new brokerage, I just want to start like I'm starting all over again, basically.
Nice. Are you with us or where are you?
Yeah. Keller Williams Lee out of, I can't even think now. Coquitlam?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm actually in Surrey, but I was licensed out of Vancouver. And so I have the Coquitlam office as my home office just because then I didn't have to change boards.
Sure, a little fee there.
Yeah.
Is that when you're planning to transact more?
Sorry?
Are you planning to transact more in?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Dry cities, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, it matters where your address is on your business card, and I think that within the next few months we'll have a new office in Coquitlam specifically with that address, so that'll even help more for if that's where you want to be. So that's awesome.
It's true.
Welcome. Yeah. Thanks, Robin.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, Robin, it's true. You guys can have the scoop. We're about to take over the old Vancouver Real Estate Board training facility on Schoolhouse in Coquitlam. So we're about to have 4 locations in Lower Mainland.
Busy. Yeah.
That was insider information right there.
Totally insider information.
You guys are in the know, so keep that under your hats. Or just don't tell Oakwin. But
I'm pretty sure they know already.
I'd say they picked up on it.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, yeah, I was trying to get a feel for the room. And Ekjot, is that how I say it? Are you licensed? Yeah, getting licensed?
No, I'm just getting my license. I joined it. I'm planning to join as an assistant.
As an assistant, okay.
He just actually got here from India, so he's like jumping straight in.
Good for you, man. That's exciting.
Actually, I was into real estate from back home only, so my mindset is clear that I have to be in real estate.
So you did in Indian. I believe they don't even have like MLS there. Is that right? It's like
no. It's good old fashioned back in the day real estate out there.
Yeah, just make your own MLS. I love it. Well, this is Yeah, if you got that
And then-
hustle mindset from there, this will be a breeze, I'm sure. So,
And then Charles is hopefully he's there listening, but he's getting licensed, so he isn't licensed yet. But I think he's writing in May or March, something like that. So
nice.
yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, pick C. I kid, but yeah, it's you're close. That's great. So, kind of getting a feel for the room here. We'll sort of tailor the presentation to you guys. So, some of you have some experience, and we'll make sure we kind of discuss a little bit about KW, a little bit about the business, and help you guys get your minds around it. So, a little bit about us, real quick. We have a coaching program within Keller Williams. So it's free to Keller associates who are looking to build their business, and Keller helps get behind you by giving you all the skills and tools and accountability and all that we all kind of look for in our businesses. And then from there, we help you with the transaction. So, Carol is a managing broker, and Aman and Hiroshi and myself are all, we have, I don't want to do the math, but decades of experience in there. And that's the reality, is that we're here to actually help you get through the transaction and be your eyes and ears on the ground when you're negotiating, when you have deals that are coming up, listings, that kind of stuff. But we also are there to give you the skills and tools and scripts and whatever it is to go find business too. So there are some people that are in the coaching with us on the call now, Ivana and Lynn as well, that I think have been to some of our Monday classes and Friday CMA classes. So the idea is to just give an overview of the business on Mondays, and just a step-by-step guide to every little facet of the business as best as we know it. Straight from how to host an open house all the way to where to put your money when you do earn income. So most of us have had some form of experience in almost every transaction possible in real estate. So we'll do our best to offer those that advice in a timely manner. And then again, most of it's really holding you accountable. Make sure you do what you say you're going to do. And that's what really coaches come down to. So tonight's discussion, we're going to talk a little bit about who here has read the MREA, the Red Book? You guys can just throw it in the chat real quick. Why, yes, throw your hands up, whatever. We'll touch a little bit on that, because the foundation really comes down to that is creating enough leads. There you go. You can wave your hand like Ron. Creating enough leads. Okay, Crystal, since you're with KW, I would say you're going to have a lot of acronyms go over your head if you haven't read it. And it's one of those things that I would strongly suggest. They've built a manual around running a real estate business, and it's the Red Book. It's not, this is how I run a business. This is how hundreds of other businesses are run within real estate companies. And it's a really good overview of what you need to do to be successful in any town, in any market, in any time. Great question. Ron has that answer for you. Go ahead.
I've already reserved you a copy, Crystal. It's in my office in Poco.
There you go.
I'll leave one at reception for you tomorrow.
Perfect. Well, that was easy. It's worth the price of admission. So, yeah, talk a little bit about like mindset, and with anything, whether you're starting a new business or you're starting a new workout routine or whatever it is, you got to get your head in the game. You got to start thinking the right direction, and where do we go to get started? And a lot of that comes down to surround yourself with the right people, positive, healthy, successful people, getting yourself trained and educated. And we're going to continue through this slide here as we get into it. So we'll just kind of keep rolling. So we keep track on the time. I find that one of the biggest hurdles people run into in staying on top of their business is, yeah, you get busy, but then you do this up and down, this busy, I follow my leads, I turn them into business, and then I don't lead generate or prospect in the middle. And then I end up in this peak and valley of real estate. And that really comes down to because you don't follow your business plan. And a lot of that is because we're not aware of what our why is. And that is what's going to push you through those days when you know you'd love to sleep in, but you know you got other stuff you'd rather do, or go on vacations or do these other things. But some days this is a business that takes a lot out of you, and you got to get up and you get kicked in the teeth. Last night, lost on multiple offers. get back up on the horse and go back and find new business tomorrow. Go back out, show your buyers new stuff tomorrow. You're going to hear no a lot more than hear yes in this business. And that's where that why has got to carry you through those days. And part of our coaching is to figure out what your why is and figure out what it is that you truly, why you got into this business. Like, what's exciting about that? And so those of you that have your license, like, why did you get your license? What was it? Was it freedom? Was it financial security? Was it not having a boss? What was it that got pushed you to take the license, the course, and got you interested in real estate enough to move into, now you're sitting here with your license? What was it? Why are you here?
All of the above.
All right. We'll answer for it. Anybody else? Financial freedom. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of everyone, they love financial freedom, and the real thing about financial freedom is it comes from following a schedule and not considering yourself being free with your time while you're at work. So when you are following and time blocking a schedule, the more rigid, the more firm you are with your own schedule, the more freedom you have in your time off, the more financial freedom you'll eventually come into. But it's earned, right? Just like anything. So right now you got to create the momentum to get there. So yeah, looking forward 5, 10, 15 years, where do you see yourself? What are your goals? So this is all stuff we talk about a little bit more one-on-one to get into it. And that's really where we get into some, like we have a 411 and a 135, they call it GPS, where it's setting your goals, your priorities, and your strategies to reach those goals. And once you get that clear, you can then put it into your calendar. And we can look at your calendar and go, okay, this calendar reflects a successful person, someone who's supposed to be doing these specific activities. And when you do those activities, the results will happen. And from there, you're going to end up hitting that goal, whatever it is that you set for yourself. And this is a very simple business. It's a very simple business. It's not easy. Juat has some. If you want to have a simple, effective business, you just got to talk to enough people every day, and that's the ticket. And we can show you how to do it. There is 15,000 realtors out there, and only 1,500 of them are really doing it, because they're the ones that understand you just got to talk to enough people every day. And the rest of them are either going to find out that this business wasn't made for them, or they're going to realize they got to put their head down and get to work. And there's no cutting corners really in this business. There's just either you do the work and you have amazing results, and it's simple, like I said, but it is not easy. So we'll show you what it is, and I'm excited because this is a new group of people, and it's always fun to see like the people that want to invest in time and come to places like this to learn and educate themselves and figure out what it is. You're already ahead of the pack. So thanks for taking your time to show up here. Who here is planning to be full-time? Everybody? Awesome. Good. Working towards it. Yeah, and fair enough, Crystal. Like, at least you have a job that is sort of reflective of this industry, so I'm sure you'll have some spin-off or whatnot, or it's complementary at least. So yes, and Ivan, I know you're on your way as well. So if you understand the concept of burn the boats to take the island, so to speak, you really do need to get into this business full time by cutting any other ties. This is the only way you'll really be able to. And like right now in this market, people that are sort of dipping their toes in can't stay on top of how fast the market's moving. So you really need to be in this like 100% full time, watching the market, knowing what's going on. When a property hits the market, you're on it. You're leaving your family. You're running out the door to go show that property and buy it or list it and sell it right away. And like it's a busy, active market, but you make a lot of money doing that. And that's the thing. So gives us opportunities when we're willing to jump in feet first. So I hope that you all can get into that full-time mindset here soon, because it really does make the difference. You'll take over. It'll take over your life in a good way, I hope. So, so if you haven't been licensed, we'll rip through this. I think most of you kind of get it, but for the few that have not, you're going to register and go through the licensing course at UBC, take your exam. You then get your license application form, start interviewing brokerages, such as Charles is doing. You get your criminal record check. You register for the applied practice, which takes a little bit of time to get into. You start applying for your license, which can also take, depending on the backlog, but a few months. And then you complete the applied practice. You get your L, right? And then you go through components 3 and 4, which we have our training for, and Carol here to help you get through that component. It's part of your license, and get that L off your back of your car, so you're able to actually start transacting completely and not having to review stuff with brokers and that kind of stuff. And we have all those answers for you anyways, and we'll answer that throughout our training. But it's good to just have a game plan, because some brokers they just feed you a few leads and then you're off and scrambling in the dark. And that sounds scary to me, and especially with what the heavy fines and the accountability that we're expected to have these days in our license, with our license. So preparing yourself to be successful. I know some of you came from a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, every other week job. This ain't that. Just to be super clear, there is very little chance that you're going to make much income in your first 90 days, or earlier than first 90 days, I should say. Most of the activity you do in this business doesn't show up in your bank account for 90 days. So day one, prospecting, getting a listing, typically doesn't list that day. So you have, weeks or months of follow up until they list. You then get them on the market, they sell. This market would be very fast, which would be probably, hopefully, under the 90-day mark, and then you're into that. But the likelihood of like taking a listing right out of the gate without it just being a bit of a family fluke or something. So preparing that you're not going to make income right away is my point. And anything else I do today, I know is long term, and that's where the hardest part of people getting a mindset around anything I do right now is going to feed me in months to come is not an easy pill to swallow for people that are expecting to get paid right away. So it's like going to the gym and working out and like, hey, I did a whole day of exercise. Like, where are my abs, right? So this beer belly has not left in an afternoon. So you gotta earn it, and it takes time. And when it shows up, it's beautiful. So yeah, we say around 4 to 6 months before you really start to get the momentum and start to see like traction in your bank account, at least specifically into like your pipeline starting to feed you. And 3 to 6 months of income or retained earnings, whatever your monthly nut is in the bank, just to keep you safe, so you're not overspending your savings. And that's why another reason is you don't want to just blow your budget on bus benches and shiny objects and internet leads and that kind of stuff at the beginning of your career, because likely I've seen too many people do it. They buy all this stuff and then they just like cut their time in half as to what they have to actually spend on their monthly living expenses. So we'll go through that more as we get into it. We have a whole course or day on finances, but we just want to make sure you keep your money. That's the big thing. And it's a very expensive business, and people will often call you and try to sell you shiny gadgets and gizmos and leads specifically, or just try to do your job for you. And the answer is always no. If you don't know, ask us and I'll tell you what the return on investment is. We've done it. Someone here's spent money on it, I promise you, and we'll tell you what the tracking is on it. And usually it's not as good as they make it sound to be. So yeah, once you've taken your exam, you got 2 years to pass it. So you do need to keep that in mind. And then you got to get your PDP credits complete. So professional development courses that need to be finished by a certain amount of time. And those are really great because they teach you a lot of stuff around knowledge in the industry, how to do foreclosures, how to understand the products you're selling. So those are the new fees as of, this is the new one as of 1150, is that right? Or did it bump up? But every 2 years, I think it's 1450. That sounds right still.
Yeah, I think it's going up on April 1st or May 1st.
Okay, so this is accurate today, but it will be increasing for anyone going to renew the license. So Crystal, good thing you did when you did. I just did mine last month too. So, and get ahead of it. Don't do it last minute. Nothing said there. Moving on. So they will be increasing a little bit. So building your brand, your base. So like I mentioned, buses and billboards, Keep your money in your jeans. I will point out people that have done it and had very little return on investment for it, versus if I were to give you a cell phone, a pair of shoes, some flyers, I could make you more money with a bit of your time than those bus benches will ever pay you. So, and you'll keep your money. And at the end of the day, those aren't building your relationships, and that's what this business comes down to. So, yeah, cold calling, door knocking, these are the tried and true. Sphere of influence, like that's where it really starts. And we have a little triangle. Open houses when we can. But if you're not talking to your sphere, your friends, your family, people that already like you, and other business owners that are also in this business or in another business that supports your business, you're missing out on huge opportunities. When you run out of those, then we start knocking doors, cold calling. But we really want to use your time effectively right out of the gate. Let everyone you know that you're in real estate, and they will begin to support you. It doesn't happen overnight. So you can't rely on your family and your friends to feed you because you're new and they know you're new. And the only way to overcome that is to let them know you have a coach. Let them know you have the answers. If you don't know, you'll go get it. You're not going to BS them, right? So these are the 5 things that need to be in your schedule daily. And these are the 5 things we get paid for at a high level. So number 1, scripting and role playing. So practicing what you're going to say to people, whether you're on the phone lead generating or when you're actually presenting buyer consultations and listing presentations, then actually lead generating and prospecting. And then lead follow-up. So you can prospect all day long, but if you don't put in your calendar and follow up with them, you could talk to 100 people every day and not talk to the same people twice. And you're going to end up, not ever converting. So the fortune is in the follow-up. You truly have to spend time every day following up with the people you're talking to yesterday and the day before that, and then they become business. And so if you do not have an appointment that day, you want to role play going on appointments. So you want to practice the presentations every day until you can't get it wrong. Not until you get it right, but until you can't miss a beat. That's the key. And then you're going to start making real money, and then you're going to stop having objections. People are going to see how smooth you are because you've done it so many times. So the other couple things are going on appointments, which would be buyer consultations, listing presentations, buyer tours, showing properties. And then the last one, writing actual contracts and negotiating deals. And those are the 5 things that you guys get paid for in a big way. And they're hundreds of dollars an hour. And everything else on your schedule, aside from social media, purposeful, which I consider lead generation still, and in some form that would be networking. We can talk about different forms of lead generation. Those are the 5 things that are going to get you paid. Everything else is something you can hire out, and you can send $15, $20 an hour to someone to go do those activities for you. And that's where you got to get your mind going is, am I filling my day with this type of activity, or am I making shiny business cards or doing other things that's busyness, not business creating activities? That makes sense? So if you have read the MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, this is the concept. So it all starts with leads. That's the foundation of your business. And it doesn't matter what level of business you're at, you can't get to the next level until you have enough leads. And when you have more leads, then you move forward. But until you have enough leads, you're not going to get enough listings. And once you have enough listings, you can then begin to leverage those listings and bring people onto your team, get assistants or buyer's agents, that type of thing. So it continues to feed itself in that triangle. But you really have to start with leads. And every time you feel like you're spinning your wheels, 10 more good leads solves everything. Fair? Like anytime you've ever run out of ideas, if you had 10 new solid hot leads, like what would that do for you this week? Right? Just think about your mindset. If you're running into a dark area and you're just having a hard go, and you lost out on multiples, like say last night, 10 new leads, I think everybody would feel like, you know what, everything's looking okay, right? Next couple months are going to be really good. So leads solves everything in any business, by the way. So this is a cost. So we just break this down out of an average commission. This is sort of average Tri-Cities KW commission. So first off, there is your cap. So that goes to the brokerage. So that leaves you with $5,300 for your check, plus the GST will be taken off. I'd suggest taking a GST. You can also take the 20% for your tax off. The brokerage can do that too, so you don't end up in tax trouble. So that leaves you with 50% right there. So now you're at $4,200, and from there, we strongly suggest that you take 10% off and put that into an account for rainy days, saving it towards your investments, and always pay yourself first. From there, you also want to put another 10% into marketing to get your next property, your next listing, your next piece of business. So after that, you're left with 30%, 25 to 30%, depending on your expenses, and you take that home. And that's what most realtors miss, is that they get a $10,000, $8,000 check and they go spend $10,000, right? And they're like, oh, next check's coming. And they don't think about the brokerage. They don't think about the taxes. They don't think about any of the costs of marketing, and they miss the opportunity that they're building a business. And by the way, 20-25% take home. You can streamline that. You can get about 30% for profit if you really watch your budget and you're purposeful. But you should still be taking some off for investments. But if you're making 20 plus 25% profit out of a business, that's incredible. That's incredible. Okay, so you're in a business that has very low risk. So you go buy a Starbucks franchise or a Tim Hortons or Subway or Jim's Mowing or whatever. They're making like 5-6%, right? We're talking 20+% and no risk, right? You don't have any inventory. You have only listings, and that's basically you take a listing right now, you sell it almost 100%. So the risk in this business is quite low and the reward is quite high. But there's a bunch of work to be done in between here, and most people just fail to put on the jeans and go to work, right? So that's where the lead generation shows up, and there's only a few people that expect their phone to ring, or know their phone won't be ringing, I guess. But so the difference between Keller Williams and most other brokerages is that we have this cap managed commission split. So we invest in you and train you and give you education and systems and tools before you've ever transacted. And we have a minimal monthly fee. No transaction, no desk, no education, no system, no deal fee. That's incredible. Check any other brokerage out there. We stack up, to say the least. And I'm sure Charles, if he's been interviewing, can speak to that. So the thing is that once you transact, then they take their piece of it. But if you are not transacting, this is like an incredibly great opportunity to learn before you earn. And that's what they do. And then, you know, the thing is that I'm realizing that we had family reunion last week, which is usually we're in Vegas and having a good party, and it's an amazing event, but there's still tons of education. We did it all online this time. But every time I go there, I'm just humbled. I think I've learned enough, or I'm tapped out, or I feel like I've really got it. And then I go to one of these events and I'm like, wow, there are people doing it at such a much larger scale than I can even comprehend. And so you get to learn from people like that, and you're like, okay, I'm still in kindergarten. And so that's really neat to know that I will never outgrow what Keller offers as far as education and training. I mean, here I am training and educating people every day, and I realize that there's just people that are just light years ahead of me. So it's quite humbling. So that being said, all that's free to you, or very, very little cost if we bring someone in. Sometimes when we fly them in or something, there's like a small cost just to put it up there. But so it's a little bit about Keller's vision in general at KW as a company, to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, and lives worth living. And it's true. You can see it in the leadership with like Terry, Josh, the owners, Naomi, Ron, anyone who's in leadership in the office, like they love what they do. They are absolutely passionate about this business. And I firmly believe that we follow these values quite well. And on the right side, they have the win-win integrity. That's called the WI 4 C's 2 T's. I won't go through the whole thing, but I'm telling you right now, every single word on this page exists within our brokerage, more so than other Keller Williams brokerages that I've been to. So it is pretty amazing energy. And the reason it works so well is because we all share in each other's growth and wins and just try to support each other's business. And that's something that you just don't get at other brokerages. And Crystal, if you were at Remax, I'm sure you've been through the energy in an office can be morgue-ish or very closed-minded and scarcity, where everyone kind of keeps their business to themselves, versus at Keller, where like, this is what I got, this is what I do, I'd love to share it. Today's office meeting was a panel of top agents talking about what they do, what they're doing during COVID, how their businesses are affected and what they're doing to flourish during it. Like, you just don't get that mindset at other brokerages, so it does matter. You'll see. So, so when you're interviewing another agent or other brokerages, describe their culture. Like, what do they do? Like, I mean, what I just mentioned, right? How do they feel? What type of mentorship? And you will have like seasoned agents that'll take you under their wing, and that's one way of doing it. What's the cost to that though? What's the breakdown? How much are you giving away? What's their fee structure for the desk, transaction, education fees? Education fees can be very misleading, right? They will tell you that, you know, they don't cost anything, and then you go to leave. I'm not sure. Again, I'd pick on the balloon company, but they'll ding you for a couple grand in education and training, whether you took it or not, if you choose to leave, which is kind of their hook to keep you in. Technology, training, coaching, all that stuff. What does that all add up to? Because that's what kind of tends to bury people in monthly fees, right? And especially at the beginning of your career, when you're starting to get your ball rolling, you can't. Thanks, Ron. You can't expect to be able to just have income coming in the first month and then having all this outflow of your cash reserves and expect to survive. And that's why this industry is really hard for people to stay in, because they don't budget accordingly. So then ask what their calendar looks like. And then ask one more time, what are the extra fees? What else? Where are the hidden fees? Where else am I going to get dinged? And then when you get your first, what do you call it? Monthly brokerage fee bill, how does that feel, right? Ask other agents that work there and say, like, what are the true costs, right? So the funny thing about Keller is I used to, when I first started, we were like kind of a quiet, smaller company. We're just over 100 agents, and like we were, you know, starting to make some waves because we were growing. We were huge in the US, but nobody really knew too much about us up here. And now we're like, agents know who we are. The public knows a little bit, but we don't brag it. We're super modest and humble about it, which I still love. It's kind of like that understated cool factor. But you got to understand, we're the busiest, biggest, baddest company out there. We're the #1 company in the world for agent count. We're one of the largest. We are the #1 for volume and transactions, everything in the US, and we're right behind everyone else in the world. Right behind one other company in the world. And that's like, this year I'm sure we'll surpass them. We're just crushing the competition, and we're only getting started. But we're #1 in all these areas in our market by far, which is great. So if people don't know who we are, it's only because they're not paying attention. But we're very humble. We don't brag it. I know it sounds like a little bit of a bragging, but I'm really just trying to like get you guys excited that like this company, like these are what matters to our clients, right? Like sold versus ask, we nail it. Days on market, we're super low. Well, that's sold versus ask. I forgot the other one was, but yeah. So it's like we're any of the stats that matter, Ron will pull them up for you, and you can see like we'll outshine the competition, and there's a reason. It comes down to our training. It comes down to our education. Like, we are professional agents. We have a big, strong training team. Been a little bit different with COVID, to be fair, but we're still finding ways to share that education. And I mean, last week, if you guys were able to get on a family reunion, it was outstanding. There's some really good content, and it's still going. So yeah, some really big ahas for me still. Yeah, we're the #1 training company in the world, not just in real estate, but all companies. So that's a pretty big deal. That, like, we're better than McDonald's usually. Some years they're #1, we're #2, but usually we're right up there. So a little bit about our coaching program. So we have weekly classes with Carol. So we do contracts, figuring out how to set up your web forms, making sure you can write us a contract and understand how a contract works, not just be able to put words on a paper, but understand the situation which calls for each different type of clause and what the subject means, and being able to articulate that to your buyers or sellers. Our presentations for listings and buyers, really understanding, like on Monday we did a listing presentation, and it's all video library, so you can go back and look at it and steal the language that you like out of it. How to submit deals. The big one for us is, like, I think it's negotiating. We've got a really good track record for helping our clients in coaching get deals together. And I think that's what really where we shine the most is that when you guys are looking to, you got an offer going back and forth. Okay, what do I say to the other agent? What do I say to my clients? How do I get them up higher? How do I get these people to give me another shot at the purchase or whatever, right? So this is where you come to the coach and say, okay, I'm in this situation and we want to help you make sure you get the deal together. And that's what really matters. So we have a Google Wiki site, which is just like a library of tools and systems. And if you guys have seen it, it's pretty impressive. Monday and Friday classes for CMAs and just training throughout. Accountability, goal setting, some help with income allocation, like a little bit we talked about, and then managing your expenses. And then it's okay. So you make a bunch of money. Wonderful. What are you going to do with it? You're a realtor. You have insider trading access. You get to look at properties and see them before the public. And you have opportunities across your plate all the time. And realtors are some of the least, less realtors invest in real estate than any other business. Like stockbrokers, all day long, they're investing in the market, right? But realtors, for whatever reason, we don't really invest in real estate the way we should. Yet we let all these deals go through our fingers and we pass it on to our investor clients. I don't get it. So that's why we're trying to educate you guys. Oh yeah, that's all free. Coaching is free, so no big deal. Yeah, but it is. It's used to there'd be 10%, and now Keller just said, you know what, we want you guys to be sharp and moving fast, and the best way to do it is just give it to you guys, and they're investing in you heavily to get out there and get productive quickly. So, and they put a lot of expectation on us to hold you guys accountable and make sure you do. So. We're voting for you. We're in your corner. So the MREA, like I mentioned, this is really the book, in my opinion. Reading it, you can read it. You know, I have so many real estate books on my shelf, but they're always about like one guy, I do this, or one lady who does this, and do it my way, and I will show you how to be amazing in this. But that doesn't always work. It's made of a different personality, different market, different city, different vibes, whatever. That doesn't always work. But the difference is with MREA is they interviewed hundreds of different agents in different cities and different types of markets and said, what are you doing? What are you doing? They all said the same thing, and they took, or different things, and they took the common denominators that was key indicators of success in every person's business and said, okay, this works in any market, in any city, in any time, in any place, and it will work. Just do it. And so that's where the difference between the MREA versus other books is like, it's a model. It's just like, okay, this works anywhere. So don't try and reinvent the wheel. And of course you can take what you learn in the MREA and then plus it, but at least do what the foundational tools that they're showing you work are, and then go from there. But if you go in and like you think you're going to be smarter than everyone else that's ever started in real estate, the millions of other agents ahead of us that are, you know, in my opinion, there's some real clever ones, and they've done very well, and they've shown you what works. And if you don't take that at least and build off of it, then you're probably missing an opportunity to carve a lot of time and money spent wasting energy trying to reinvent the wheel. So take this book, read it, dog ear it, like highlight pages, and like own this book and put this into practice in your business, and I promise you it'll change the way you think about it. So Crystal, hopefully you get your book. Anyone who hasn't read it, I suggest you guys take the time to read at least to page 117 in your first month, because 117 really teaches you the basics of the foundations of real estate, and after that it gets into like lead listings and leverage, and then like team building, which is also important. You need to know how to think and where you're going to start to learn to train and hire and recruit and build out a team. But at the beginning, as a solo agent, at least get to the first 117 pages and you'll get the foundational stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. Bold, great course coming real soon. This is a business objective life by design. This just is a mindset course. And I've taken it 7-8 times now. And every time I take it, I'm like a new person. I get new stuff from it. It's amazing. And every time I take it, I get new business. And that's really why I take it, is because it forces me to get uncomfortable again and take extra actions to make that extra call that I maybe wouldn't have made if I wasn't in this course. And, you know, it pays for itself over and over and over again. So suggest you take that kind of stuff for sure. Yeah. So Red Day, real quick. Mo Anderson is one of the founders of Keller, and her birthday, she said she wants Keller agents to go out and contribute to their community and give back. So it really is read as renew, energize, donate, give where you live. And it's true. It's probably my favorite day of the year as far as seeing all the Keller agents come out and contribute. And, we've done so many cool projects of, revitalizing care homes, or last year we were at Barneston Island with the, like this dog shelter and like senior homes. And it's just like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. We've taken some huge projects on, and it's just, you see all the Keller agents really show up, and that's what, that's what we're all about. It's kind of giving back, and it's amazing what happens. So here's a few resources if you haven't. So BCREA, the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, the Souter, of course, if you haven't signed up, and then kellerwilliams.com. That's us if you want to look into us a little bit more, and then look up Keller Williams Elite as well. And that's us. So hopefully I kept us on time, smooth enough. Thanks for your patience with that. So does anyone have any questions about that? And thanks for waiting to hold off on answer questions until afterwards, but we're happy to give you guys some insights or answer anything we can for you.
I have a question. So I'll come and grab my book. What would you recommend, reading the book first or connecting with somebody who can kind of help me get some goal setting and a game plan started for getting started again?
Yeah, come see us right away. Don't wait. Get the book whenever you can, but there's no sense in, the book's going to take you. It sounds like you have kids. I have kids. I say I'm going to read a book, and it's like, yeah, what would have taken me 2-3 days in past life is now like 2 or 3 weeks. So, yeah, I would say, jump on Friday's PMA class, or Monday we've got a class on for sale by owners and commission. That's why that happened. I see more H. Threw it around. We got to switch that up on the slide, by the way. So yeah, jump on Friday. I mean, I don't know what your schedule allows for, I guess, but we can find a time. Are you Monday to Friday with your?
Yeah, I work Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. So just trying to find time. Like the calls are or they're recorded, correct?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you can go back in the library and watch them. And I mentioned that wiki site, like that's on there 24/7. You go in there and there's videos, there's just tons of content on there. You want to figure out where it is. And for you, it's like you've already been in the business for a while. So I imagine you got a bit of a game plan as to how you want to attack it this time. So we would probably sit down and say, okay, so, part of it is actually like, what do you enjoy doing? And that's where I really love part of this coaching is like, we'll sit down, we'll go through a Keller personality assessment with you as a KPA. And it'll take about half an hour or 40 minutes for you to go through. And then the results are astounding because you can't trick it. And there's no right or wrong answer. It just says, okay, this is what how my brain works, what I enjoy doing. And then, so we work towards your strengths and we say, okay, if you're more of a introvert and you like being more like in front of the computer and that kind of thing versus more of an outgoing type folk, then like we'll put you in the direction you want to do your prospecting and have fun and like doesn't feel like work that way and you're passionate about what you're doing. And then from there it's like, okay, well that's where you're gonna find your most success. And then again, it's just like you're gonna be energized by getting up every day. And versus if you were, an introvert and we said go all day and go to networking events and do all this outgoing stuff, you just feel drained at the end of your day. It's not a fun place to be, right? So
okay. And so who would I set that up with then?
Any of us. Yeah. Alman
I'll take care of it, Crystal.
Okay.
I'll send you some info. So.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, looking forward to it. Anybody else? Questions?
I have a question. So all these classes that I can't make, that I'm missing, like the Monday one, for example, and from my understanding, it's being recorded. Where do I find that?
So You like I uploaded the one from Monday this week. You should have got an email. I
Okay.
put your email address in there, so maybe check under spam. It might have gone into there, but it should be there. And if you haven't got it, just let me know. I'll add it in.
Okay, so it will be from whom? From your email or?
It's from our coaching email, so it's kwelitepc@gmail.com.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, John. Lynn, Charles, questions? Anything? Any,
No, just listening. It's good. I mean, that's listening it. So I'm not gonna miss any class.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you there, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I think a big part of it is just engaging and getting just listening and learning from other people. Lots of good questions that often come up right away. So, yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, whoever's interested in sort of attending one class or all of them, just reply back to the email that invited you to this, and I'll add you into the sessions for Mondays, Fridays, and Carols. So.
Okay, sure, I'll do that.
Do you have a question, Charles?
Hey, thanks for the presentation. It was great. It's good to know what KW offers, and it's good to plan ahead before I get my license, that I can know this brokerage will help me to get into this, or will help me to reach this goal. So that was pretty good. And quick question, what does so you mentioned there's a cap for the split, and what is the cap and what happens once the cap is reached? Or can you explain a bit about that, please?
Yeah, good question, man. So the cap is 30%. It depends on your production, but typically it's 30%, and then you pay up to $14,100. So that's sort of the company dollar where you pay until you reach, which is like $48,000 in commission, more or less. And then you'll pay that off in usually 5 or 6 transactions, and then there also is an international fee for $3,000, so $17,100 total, which is pretty much right in the middle of some of the brokers that we sort of compete against. But after that, there's no more deal fees and there's nothing, right? So we're not the cheapest kid on the block if you're going to do 5 deals, because you're going to pay your cap and then it's not a great deal. But if you're going to do 15 plus deal, which I think anyone is going to be in this business that expects to succeed and eat well, or even really eat, like you barely make enough money to take it home if you're doing under 20 deals. I think it's you might as well just work for someone else. But at that point, then it's like it's a no-brainer. We're an amazing deal. Anything over a dozen deals, but depends on like the type of properties you're selling, right? If you're selling higher end stuff, then you can literally cap in one deal if you're selling a luxury home. So
sure, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And is there any other expenses that I have to plan for? This is just because I'm not working right now and I'm concentrating full time on getting this done and my examinations. So even after real estate, I'm planning to work full time, get into this. So that I just wanted to plan, like you said, plan for 6 months or maybe 1 year. So is there any expense that I have to make sure, or is there any amount that I have to make sure that I have before getting into this one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Chris thinks, but I think you should have at least 10,000 in the bank, so you're not stressing.
Depends on your monthly income or your necessary costs of living, but yeah.
No, basically I was thinking regarding like any other payment except for the agency or the board fees, any other payment from the KW side that I'll have to worry about?
No, KW is like $50 a month. It's depends on what you're like. So you're gonna get your board fees no matter what, right? And then you want to have probably a lockbox card, so Century Lock card. So there's another $16. I would budget, and then you got your it's pretty much it. But you have cell phone and gas and car, like normal expenses running a business, printing. At the beginning, you got to get some signs of business cards and that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't even buy signs until you have a listing, to be honest. I wouldn't even buy open house signs right now because no one's doing them. And I don't care.
Sorry, Chris. Yeah, I think budget-wise, you probably you're probably going to hit about $300 to $400 a month, just including board fees, office fees, and then odds and ends here and there. So I'd probably budget for around there. It could be more or less, but
yeah.
Thank you.
To be safe, 300. You can keep it less at the beginning, but that means you're not printing, you're not doing extra stuff that's going to create business opportunities for you. So you got to spend money to make money to a degree. We're really cautious around telling people to spend money before they've earned it, and that's part of the Red Book strategy. Is red light, green light. Don't spend money until you earn it, and then spend accordingly. But at some point, you're going to have some costs. So this is an expensive business to be in. There's no doubt about it. To make money, right? You don't want to know what the budget is, but it's nothing compared to what we earn, right? So it's all relative. At the beginning, we just say, hey, take it easy. Ask us if you're thinking about taking on this cost. Ask us, and we'll give you an honest answer. Is this a good return on investment? Should I do it?
Sure. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, just before we go, so I checked my emails and I haven't received anything. If you can add me to that distribution list for the recorded videos, I would love that.
yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much.
Can you put your email in the chat just in case
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the invitations to the meetings, but I'm not seeing the recording.
That's fine. I know you've been invited to this, so I'll take it off of that.
Okay.
Make sure you get added.
Quick question. When would you recommend joining a brokerage? Is it after I finish my exams, and then when I start my applied course, or can I join the brokerage to just learn the stuff beforehand? What would you recommend?
Yeah, you go ahead, Armin.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would wait till you pass the exam at the very least. You can do your I don't know what Carol feels, but you can do your applied practice course while you're with us. But I would wait till you're licensed to actually join a brokerage.
Technically, you can't join a brokerage until you have your license. Right. But I'll tell you what I would do if I'm in your shoes and you're wanting to get ramped up right away. Is I would start taking training, coming to educational stuff like this, and then our Monday and Friday classes, learning how to speak the language. Because right now, obviously you're going to have to study and take other time towards getting your class. But when you do have time, learn the real business of real estate, because what they teach you in the course on how to pass your real estate exam is nothing like what. And I'll tell you right now, Ivana, Crystal, and anyone else who's got their license, they'll tell you once you pass your exam, you might as well throw that book out because it's useless. It's got nothing to do with
Yeah, definitely. You are right.
So
I have realized before joining the course.
You can sell your calculator on Craigslist for $25, and you can put that book under a table somewhere and keep it nice and level, because there's nothing else you're going to use that book for. It's the reality of this business is very different than what they teach you in there, and that's in all fairness an absolute letdown by UBC that they failed to prepare you to be successful. And I'm not going to say it, but it's sort of on purpose, because they teach you that in order to take your money, right? But the reality is you need a brokerage that's going to teach you how to actually run a real estate business.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah, it's a 600 pages book.
Yeah. So I don't know, Carol may want to add to that, but I'm.
Yeah, as soon as you pass the exam, really realistically, I would start looking for the brokerage, because as you're doing the applied, 90% of what I teach in my classes is covered in the components. So it'll help you get through your components, and then I'm there to help you guide through the components so that you can end up getting your full license.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, I mean that's what you need in order to be able to transact completely and be signed off by council and all that. There's another thing is like, how do I actually find business? What do I say when I get in front of a seller? Like, how do I do a CMA? How do I prepare a listing presentation? And none of that stuff gets taught to you, and it's a shame. And it should be a university course that they teach you, and you come out of there with like a business plan. Here, this is what I'm going to actually do to find business. But there's none of that. You don't get any kind of manual on how to run a business. You just learn how to pass the exam, and that's they don't do a great job of it, to be fair.
True.
Well, and I find too, I'm sure you guys have, anytime that I've dealt with new agents for a substantial amount of time now, they pass the exam and they go, oh, so-and-so's looking for a place to buy, and I have no idea how to write a contract. So
Yeah, that's what.
exactly. And so that's the thing. So it's just like, the sooner you get into the training, the sooner you get into knowing how to do a contract, and then you push yourself up to Chris, Amon, or Hiroshi, then you start the production. So you can't do production unless you know how to write a contract, because then you're gonna fail, and you're gonna upset your buyers or sellers because you're not doing your paperwork right. So it's really good to educate yourself, get that comfort zone, and then keep moving forward so that you can be successful.
Yeah.
And keep in coaching, no matter if you cap or not. The key is to keep in coaching. Any agent, as we're in coaching, to be successful, it's got to be all the time, whether you cap or not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anything else, guys? Any other questions or ahas? Did the one about what you actually take home, did that sink in or ring true?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, well, if anyone has any other questions, you have our contact info, reach out. We absolutely appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you again, and we look forward to meeting with you soon and seeing you around the office, hopefully. Have a great night. Thanks, Charles.
Good night. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Good night. Bye.
Thank you.